Have you ever caught yourself saying, I don't know, I'm just really picky? Be honest. How many times have you said that? Or maybe, how many times have you believed it? What if I told you it's not really about being picky at all? Welcome to Mind Matters Expert. Let's talk about something real today. Something a lot of people feel but don't fully understand. You've probably heard it, I'm just really picky. It sounds harmless. Sometimes it even sounds like a strength, something to be proud of. But what if that pickiness is actually the very thing holding you back from finding a meaningful, lasting relationship? The truth is, not all pickiness is the same. Some of it protects you, and some of it quietly isolates you. Understanding this difference between healthy and unhealthy pickiness can completely change your love life. So before labeling yourself as too picky, pause for a moment and really ask yourself what that means. Now here's something important to understand. There is such a thing as healthy pickiness. Being selective in a healthy way is actually a sign of emotional maturity. It means you take your time getting to know someone. You don't rush into physical intimacy. You stay aware and observant in the early stages. You reflect on past relationships and actually learn from them. And you give yourself space between relationships to grow. This kind of pickiness isn't about rejecting people. It's about choosing wisely. You're open to love, but you're also thoughtful, grounded, and intentional. But then there's the other side, unhealthy or extreme pickiness. And this is where things start to quietly go wrong. You spend long periods single, feeling like you just can't find the right one. You quickly spot flaws in almost everyone you date. Small, insignificant issues suddenly become deal breakers. Relationships end before they even have a chance to grow. And deep down, you keep telling yourself, no one is good enough for me. At first, it may feel like you just have high standards, but often something deeper is going on. So what's really behind this extreme pickiness? Here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not about standards, it's about fear. At its core, it's a defense mechanism. People who are overly picky are often afraid of getting hurt, afraid of being vulnerable, afraid of being truly seen, flaws and all, afraid of depending on someone emotionally. Now most people understand that relationships come with some risk. You might get hurt, you might be misunderstood, you might be seen at your worst. But they still take the chance, because connection is worth it. For someone who is extremely picky, though, that same possibility doesn't feel exciting. It feels overwhelming. Instead of comfort, the idea of a real relationship creates stress. A lot of it. So what happens? You start looking for reasons not to continue. It may sound like, he chews weirdly, she texts too much, I didn't feel a spark immediately. Small things become big exits. And over time, this pattern does one thing really well. It keeps you safe. But it also keeps you alone. Because if you can always find a reason to walk away, you never have to face the vulnerability of staying. Now, if this feels a little too familiar, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you've learned how to protect yourself. Maybe, a little too well. And yes, sometimes without even realizing it, you might be sabotaging your own love life. This pattern often comes from real experiences, like growing up in a home filled with conflict or instability, being rejected or made fun of earlier in life, carrying insecurities that never fully healed, or being deeply hurt in a past relationship. Your mind is trying to keep you safe, but in doing that, it may also be keeping you stuck. But here's the good news. You can change this. You're not just picky. You're likely afraid. And fear can be understood. It can be worked through. And it can change. People shift their relationship patterns all the time. The first step is awareness. And if you've made it this far, you've already taken it. So how do you actually start solving this picky problem? Let's walk through it step by step. First, get honest about your fear. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of when it comes to relationships? What could go wrong if you truly let someone in? Take your time with this. Write it down. Maybe it's fear of abandonment. Maybe it's fear of rejection. Maybe it's the fear of not being enough. Whatever it is, clarity matters. Next, look at your past. Because your patterns didn't appear out of nowhere. There's a story behind them. Reflect on your past, your family environment growing up, your previous relationships, moments where you felt hurt, rejected, or small. When you understand where your fear comes from, you stop confusing the past with the present. Then, involve people you trust. You don't have to figure this out alone. Talk to a couple of close friends. Tell them what you've realized, and ask them to gently point it out when you start nitpicking. Focus too much on minor flaws, or dismiss someone too quickly. This does two powerful things. It keeps you accountable and it helps you practice vulnerability. Because when you open up to safe people and nothing bad happens, you slowly start to trust that it's okay to let your guard down. And finally, give people a real chance. Make one simple rule for yourself. Don't decide whether you like someone until you've gone on at least 3 or 4 dates. This changes everything, because first impressions can be misleading. Comfort takes time to build, and connection often grows slowly. When you give people more space, you stop judging so quickly. And something surprising happens. You start enjoying the process of dating again. Now imagine this for a moment. What happens when you let go of that fear? When you stop sabotaging your relationships, you create space for something real. A healthy relationship isn't perfect. It's safe. It's supportive. It's honest. It's a place where you can be fully seen, flaws included, and still be accepted. And when you find that kind of connection, you're not just dating anymore. You're building something meaningful, a partnership, a sense of home, and eventually something even deeper, a new kind of family. So let me ask you something. Honestly, are you really picky, or are you protecting yourself? Being selective isn't the problem, but when being picky becomes a shield against vulnerability, it quietly blocks the very thing you're looking for. If you've spent years pushing people away without fully understanding why, don't ignore it. Look closer. Because there's nothing broken about you. There's just something unexamined. And once you face the fear behind your choices, you give yourself a chance to choose differently. And that is where everything begins. Now, before you go, here's a quick challenge for you. Think about this honestly. What is one small flaw that made you reject someone too quickly? Was it really a deal breaker or just a defense? And here's your challenge. The next time you meet someone new, give them at least 3 honest chances before deciding. Then come back and reflect. Did your perspective change? If this made you pause or see your patterns a little more clearly, go ahead and like this video. Share it with someone who always says, "I'm just picky," and subscribe to Mind Matters Expert. Because sometimes the smallest shifts in thinking create the biggest changes in life.